All right, here we go. Welcome to the shuffle. Thanks for tuning in, Chris. It's nice to see you here. I've got a loose idea of all that I want to go over today, and I've enjoyed opening the stream doing just a deep dive on a single card. It gives us something interesting to chew on, start with, and wait for people to show up because, no one shows up on time, except us, of course. And if you're tuning in and watching this later after the stream, you get it too. I'm going to draw the random card, not from this deck. I actually really want to show off a deck that my mom got me for my birthday. It's Steampunk Tarot, which is a really fun theme, and I've really been enjoying the character of these cards. So I'm curious to do a deep dive with one of these. I'm just going to leaf through the entire deck, picking out two at a time. Hi, Dad. Love you, Dad. Thanks for tuning in. It's nice to see you. This deck is cool, this steampunk deck, because, like I was saying, it has kind of a unique character to me, and it's been adding another dimension to a lot of the cards for me, and really expanding on a lot of their meaning. And that's really a fun part of the practice, reading cards that'll come to you, is, they're just, every single deck has its own little bit of unique character and unique images that are going to evoke different intuitive responses out of you. So it's really fun to explore different decks and to find one that really resonates with you on a personal level. You can have a really personal connection to your deck. Oh, the Page of Pentacles. I'm going to do a deep dive on describing the Page of Pentacles today, but I want 3 examples of the card. I've got a couple other tarot decks here. I'm going to feature it from this Steampunk. I've got in my hands, actually, Dad, I'm glad that you think it's great to be here. I'm glad to have you here too. This deck that I'm kind of looking for the Page of Pentacles through right now is the Robin Hood Tarot. It's a pretty popular tarot deck. Pre-pandemic, I liked saying that you can go to any Barnes & Noble and you'll find this on the shelf. Now, I don't know. It's still just a very popular tarot deck. Anyway, it's also the one that I learned on. It's the one that my dad had, and I owe it to you, Dad. Way early on in my early childhood, I got started with tarot because you turned me on to it. And this is the deck that it happened with. It is easily my favorite tarot deck, if only for my familiarity with it. I really love working with it that way, and I really feel a serious intention and a lot of energy with this deck and these cards for the number of years that I've been working with them. And this other last deck I have is a much more traditional, the classic Rider-Waite. And all 3 of these decks are based on the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, which is really popular in tarot and is the system that I use, that I'm very familiar with and that I'm sharing at the stream here. But I want to talk a little bit about the Page of Pentacles. Dad, I'm glad that the Robin Hood deck is your favorite also. Of course it is. The Page of Pentacles is a fun card. It's this character that's really interested and curious and wants to learn. It's a younger character and our earth element, so it kind of resembles this quiet, shy observer, this just trying to soak in the world around me. I just want to process it and understand it. The Page of Pentacles is timid. This is not the page that's diving into the action and really getting things started. This is the one who's on the sidelines, watching while everyone else is jumping into the pool and kind of thinking about it and watching how they did it and testing the temperature of the water with their foot. The Page of Pentacles is a fun character. I really enjoy it. And I see it come up a lot in readings for me when there's an instance of learning something new or learning something deeper than you had before, where you're really in that patient phase of familiarizing yourself with it, just with time, experience, and exposure. And that's the Page of Pentacles just wants to soak life up and just experience it and understand it. That's really the objective, I think, for this character, at least to me. I should talk a little bit about, you might have different understandings of some of the cards as you take on your own practice reading cards than I do. And every definition that I offer is kind of like this new deck. Something to help expand and transform and deepen our definitions with cards so that they have more meaning to us when we're trying to use them in a reading and employing them to help guide our thoughts. The more meaning they have, the more powerful they are. This Page of Pentacles is cool. I'm looking now at the Page of Pentacles from the Steampunk deck because I wanted to see how this card made me think differently about it. I love that she's peeking out from behind a couple curtains in the card. It really fits that shyness to me, that she's kind of tucked away and peering out from here. I'm definitely making an effort to get in and look at the world, but I'm at the sidelines. I'm side stage and I'm just looking out. So immediately looking at this card, I resonate with it in that way. I'm like, that's already close to my understanding of the card. This has become, and I felt that way with a lot of the cards in this deck. This deck has been easy for me to work with. I've really been enjoying immersing myself in it. I love that it's winter in this card. I kind of associate winter with the earth element and the pentacles. So that kind of highlights a little more of the character. Each of the seasons kind of have their own character intuitively to us, and they'll add a lot to our understanding of the card. I like seeing that appear in this Page of Pentacles. And of course, she's all geared up in her steampunk get up. This is Steampunk Tarot. I see, Dad, you've asked in the chat, what deck is this? And I'm looking for the manual that came with it. Here it is, the Steampunk Tarot by Barbara Moore. Can't tell you exactly where it was purchased because it was a gift, but it's a beautiful one that came with a huge manual. There are very, very detailed descriptions and definitions offered to all the cards in the book, and I've really enjoyed some of the definitions that I've come across. And I'll very briefly share the definition that's offered to the Page of Pentacles. Because I'm sure that the book has some things to say about this that maybe I didn't pick up on, that are a little different. Oh, wow. Immediately they open with a little quote at the top, and it says, "Because adventure always awaits, and so I am always prepared." So this, and I love that they bring the highlight to preparation, which comes up a lot in the earth element. The earth element is very conscientious, very prepared, and very organized, and refers to a lot of those areas of our life when we're seeing the Pentacle suit come up in a reading. So that's coming through, and our Page character representing the suit, she is awaiting adventure and is prepared for it, which really fits this "I'm not quite diving into the action yet" character that I feel from the Page of Pentacles. The book goes on. It offers a core meaning: someone who is ready to try something new in the physical world or with resources or finances. That is still, for me, ringing true to all of my understandings of this card. Willing to try something new. I often see this card coming up when you're experiencing or trying something new and learning it out, feeling it out. And then it says, especially to many things that are traditionally associated with the earth domain, the physical world, resources, finances, real stuff, tangible stuff. The earth is so concrete. This is cool. I want to take a moment just to look at the differences in how some of the symbols are represented in the Steampunk Tarot compared to the traditional Rider-Waite. The Robin Wood Tarot is very faithful to the traditional Rider-Waite, so you'll see right away they're very similar in appearance here. The page is carrying a pentacle that they're surveying and studying and looking at, and they're standing with a somewhat relaxed pose, kind of really focused on that pentacle in an otherwise kind of open prairie kind of environment. There's not too much that's distracting them, and they're very focused with their attention on that which they're being presented and they're learning or preparing for. The pentacle is hidden away in this card, and I think I get a better close-up on this camera, on her belt. It's a little hard to see maybe over the camera, especially with the low resolution that I'm broadcasting at. But in the Steampunk Tarot, they've represented the pentacle there, and she's kind of geared up for an adventure. She's got the goggles on top of her head, but they're not down. She's preparing for the adventure. I've got the goggles, and I'm side stage here looking out at the snowy winter, but I haven't put them down and gone out yet. I'm still preparing. I'm studying what I'm about to walk into on the Page of Pentacles. I want to get my lay of the land. I want to really know what it is I'm looking at here. That's my objective, open shut the whole way. When a Page of Pentacles comes up in a reading, Sometimes it represents that character of the Page of Pentacles coming through you. It really depends with the court cards for me how I set the intention before the card draw. If it was an intention like be prepared for this to be coming to you in the circumstance that I was looking at, like say, then I'd be expecting to be learning something new, expecting to have to develop new skills. If it came up as a suggestion of like a mindset for me to approach something, I'd see it really making me think, approach it like it's new, really be open to learning something new in the situation, and be humble and be conservative and be cautious and be careful and be open and curious. And if it were kind of presented me more in a position where it was indicating some sort of action I was to take to achieve the ends that I set the intention for the card draw, I'd see it really kind of directing me to take time. It's not time to like really pull the trigger, dive in and start doing things. It's still time to keep learning, keep watching, keep lurking, keep, just getting an idea of what those first steps are going to be when you're really applying yourself to the work or the activity that you've brought into the reading. There's still more to learn, and still more that you can gain value from just being on the sidelines and observing before really diving in. I, of course, have a lot of kind of earthy characteristics in my personality, and I love these cards. Love the pentacles. Anytime a pentacle comes up, I'm just like, I'm at home. I feel so good. So this is a very comfortable character for me to assume. I'm always peachy keen, happy when a Page of Pentacles appears for me. In these past several weeks on the shuffle, I have gone over an entire suit in total, which I think is a great way to learn about the cards and the system of tarot that is offered, that is broken into 4 elements, each representing different spheres of human experience, and that across the set of cards in a single element or a single suit, there's a progression, there's an arc, there's a story, and a whole narrative that reaches across them. And I think understanding the context of where a card falls into the greater narrative really is the way to understand the deeper meaning that these cards express, and the context that they're caught in. Each of the minor arcana that are across a suit in the tarot really capture a very distinct, discrete slice of human experience. And each experience that we have kind of has its own embedded lessons or bits of insight and wisdom. So each card on its own is really nice that way, and understanding where they fit in the set is where their deeper meaning becomes clear, and their progression and how they move it through each other becomes more clear. Before, though, I dive right into another element, I'd love if there were any questions that people had. You can drop those in the chat. Even if I'm in the middle of going through an element, I will stop to really tailor the content of this stream and what I'm sharing about my practice with tarot to whatever it is you'd like me to gab on about. I also have the capability for people to call in on Zoom, be featured on stream if you'd like to share more of a dialogue and conversation over the questions that you want to bring to my practice with tarot. Or if you're interested in getting a live reading, I'm offering live readings at $5 to $10 on a sliding scale for whatever fits your budget, trying to keep it really affordable while I'm streaming. And I'll sit with you for 10 to 15 minutes here, and we'll dive into a brief question and round it out and have that reading to present and explore on the stream. Without any more time laboring on that, I went through swords, then cups. I've got pentacles and wands left to do before I start repeating suits, and there's a lot that you can do going deeper with each suit and exploring it. And I'd really love to, in this first month of the stream, round out the elements that way. If there's a preference between wands and pentacles, let me know in the chat, and I'll pick one of them to really go at length with. Hi, Angie and Tim. Glad you could make it. I don't know if you have a preference, if I should do the Earth Pentacles element, which is all about real, physical, tangible things and career and, our family and our home and our finances and our security. Or the fire element, the wands, which is really much more about creativity and passion and willpower and determination, spirit, and things that are intangible and not real. A lot of just our drive and our ambition to create things and make them real. It's a fun suit as well. In the absence of a suggestion from the chat, I think that I'm going to go into the Earth suit, not only because it's my favorite, but also because we did draw that Page of Pentacles as our deep dive card to open the stream. So it only feels fitting to continue the Earth theme here and take a look at the Pentacles. This is a fun... I see you in the chat, Dave. Wands for sure, intangible and not real, sounds about right. I'm gonna pivot because I got that message from you in the chat and instead make this stream about our wands. Dad, I associate this suit with you. Chris, I see you in the chat also. That's great, we're in agreement. We're all in agreement on wands, that's good. That's good. I see you coming up in the chat now saying Earth is okay, but since there's a little bit of delay on the stream, you'll see in a moment that I have pivoted to switch to wands. We'll save Earth for next week or another time. The wand suit is really fun. And I think I have a really fun example that I want to do for this. Every time I've gone through one of these, I've really wanted to draw an analogy, a story to really ground the kind of vague meanings and definitions of the cards and give an example of what they could apply to. I want to take a moment before I dive into the suit to talk about how the cards have vague meanings, because that's often an area where tarot receives some valid criticism from skeptics who feel it's all kind of a wishy-washy thing anyway. If it's vague and anyone could relate to it, of course you're going to have a good experience with it. And it's interesting. I think that the vagueness in the cards is part of how and why they work as an intuitive tool for the practice. There's the interest that you could probably, with a question that you brought to the deck, relate it to any of the cards. You could draw any of them and find a way to relate it to the story depicted in that card. What I think is interesting and magical about the experience is how the message in the card that's drawn is always timely and really focuses on framing the experience in a way that guides you to a deeper understanding of yourself and the situation that you're in. It's always just a suggestion of, have you thought about it like this? And the cards can kind of move us, shift our perspective in a really interesting way. And yes, you could describe a lot of different situations with a variety of different cards, but it's really the specific ones that come up that change our focus in a way that shifts our thinking. And following the cards through unique, discrete places can help walk us through our thoughts at a nice pace, through different places that, by the end, has us really with a clarified perspective because we've tried to consider it from some different randomly suggested or divinely suggested directions. I'm going to look at the story of the wands, and before I do, I want to set up the analogy that I'm going to take as the story to follow the narrative through the arc here. And I want to share with you all a bit more personal story about my practice starting this stream and promoting myself as a tarot card reader online, because that creative process and sort of self-started process and is going to fit this element very well and the story very well. The Ace of Wands, all of our aces refer to sort of new beginnings of things. And when we're talking about our fire, our creative element, the Ace of Wands really resembles this impulsive, I want to do something energy. I want to create something energy. The Ace of Wands is all about just doing it, is really captured in this card. It's a really fun creative space. You've got this spark, you've got this initiative, you've got this go get 'em attitude. And you're just doing it. And why are you doing it? Don't need a reason. That's captured in the fire element so well. The spirit of just doing things for their own sake is such a fiery ambition. And this Ace of Wands really captures that. Doing something for its own sake. Or because you want to. That's why. How did you do that? Seemed fun. Not a whole lot of complicated, convoluted thought here in the very active, straight, simple, raw, powerful wants. This is just, I had the ambition. I had the motive. I had the will to do this. So I did. Ace of Wands. Hi, Mom. I love you, Mom. See, you've appeared in the chat. You wanted to vote for Pentacles, but we'll have to wait a little bit for next week. Yeah, so the Ace of Wands is the spark, the start of something new. For me, where I am in my process offering this stream and tarot readings on my website through private sessions, I'm progressed a little further than this part in the cycle. We'll catch up to where I'm at when we get to the later cards. But this really resembles probably where I was about a month ago when I first said, okay, I'm going to really do it. I'm making my Instagram. I'm making a Twitter. I'm building my website. I'm starting this stream and really starting this new habit. Is all really captured, kind of open shut in this Ace of Wands. After you've done it, I've made my website. I've got a lot of my technical stuff. I've opened Broadcast Studio on my computer, and I've got that configured. You move into the Two of Wands. This is the moment where you're sharing your message with the world. This is my first post on Instagram. This is, hey, come to my live stream. I'm putting it out there. Really, in the picture here, there's someone looking over a wall over to the sea, holding a globe. The story here is that they've just sent their ships with their message out into the world. Their message or their cargo or their, the gift or the service, the product, whatever it is that's being captured in this card, it's been sent. The message, my will that sparked in the Ace of Wands is being conveyed one way or another. I'm texting my close friends and family and saying, hey, I'm trying to do this stream. Please come join me. And reaching out. You're putting it out there. And there's a lot of patience and waiting in this card. You can see that he's just kind of contemplatively looking out. Just it's time to wait. He's done it. He's put himself out there. I created something in the Ace of Wands, and I put it out there in the Two. Maybe a different analogy. I found a job listing and I applied for it. Now I wait. I've put it out there, and leads us to the Three. Three of Wands is a really fun place where it becomes more clear where things are going. This is typically the response to the call you made in the Two. On the Three, you now see ships returning in the background, kind of coming back. And this is where you're getting the response from people. Whatever that response is, even if it's the lack of a response. So this is the time and space where you're seeing. What's the feedback? I put myself out there. I created something. I said, hey, this is my thing. Let's do it. And now I'm hearing back. I'm getting whatever I'm getting back. I got X number of likes on that post. I got this many people that tuned into my live stream, seeing the results of it. This is a fun place because once you've arrived here, you're starting to see the beginnings of what really does exist outside. You've got this ambition to create something new that didn't exist previously, and these are the first beginnings of seeing your will manifest into something real. And there's a lot about this position that can be very revealing about what it is you're really creating as it starts to shape up. As I first started this live stream and my practice offering readings on my website, I gauged exactly how much response I was getting, what kind of time commitment it was for me to create the content and to do this. All of that's becoming clear to me through practice. This early in the cycle, it's our first moment of feedback, of seeing the results. of our actions and of what we've put out through here. If you remember from last week or maybe 2 weeks ago when we spoke about swords, there's a lot of connection between these ranks, where in the Two of Swords, you're making a difficult choice where you expect some difficult consequences to arise either way. And in the Three, you're experiencing those consequences. There's a lot of similarity across the ranks, which will be really fun as we go over more of the suits together to start drawing those connections. I want to move on to the Four. Once in the Three, we've heard back from some people and started to see what we're building. The Four is where we start this new arc, and this is the partnership card, if I were to give it a single word. Pictured is usually the scene of something like a wedding. There's a canopy and people dancing and celebrating. This is kind of a fun time that has that kind of celebratory energy. This is where I'm finding these are the people that want to do this with me. I'm sitting here live with Chris, many members of my family, and we're talking. I'm getting to talk about tarot and teach tarot as I want to, and we're going forward in this enterprise together, and it's this really fun, exciting time. We're getting caught up to the present now in my where I am in the cycle, with the development of my own, just existence as a tarot card reader online, and my development of the shuffle, this stream, and my development of my private practice offering readings. This is about where I am in the cycle, is I'm finding the response from those people that do want to do this with me, that I'm linking up with in a way, and they're vibing off of me the same way that I vibing off of it, because these wands are all about just our passion coming forward. And this Four of Wands is really the moment that I found someone that's passionate about the same things or in the same way, and we're just connecting over it in this exciting way where we're moving forward with it. There's a lot of this card's energy that's come up in my relationship with Sonora, my partner, who has done a lot of work helping me promote myself and generate graphics and take photos of me. Thank you so much, Sonora. There's been a lot of Four of Wands kind of energy and space between us in the development of this stream and my presence online as a tarot card reader. This is going to get interesting now as we look forward in this Wands cycle. After you've kind of, in the Ace, made your own thing, in the Two, put it out there, said, I want to make this real, I want to be doing it with other people. In the Three, we're seeing the response. In the Four, we're gathering our closest allies and doing this. I am in the early phases of the live stream, and I am happy to do it with a small group of these people that'll dance with me under the canopy in the Four of Wands. And I'm so passionate and so driven, and I have so much determination, all this fiery just drive to do this, that I know there's nothing that's going to stop me. And that's a big quality of the fire element, is this: I have willpower over that'll push me through any obstacle. There's just so much energy and determination in the fire. They will never give up. The spirit of giving up is just not captured in the fire element. It's totally absent. It's kind of resembled in other places in tarot. This is all about that energy and that drive, push past any obstacle. That's where we arrive in the Five, is where we're encountering our first obstacles. At first, I just created it, I put it out there, found the initial kind of foundation, and this is where we're getting into nitty-gritty of really making it real. And now I'm going to draw back to my analogy. My ambition with this stream and with my online practice is to reach a lot of people. I would love if I could grow this into a larger community. I'm trying to find people that want to learn about tarot, that want to tune in here, that are interested in the fact that I'm basically offering free lessons. And this is where you get into the nitty-gritty of really doing the work. Some of the obstacles that I'm facing are, getting started. I have a small following on social media in many places and need to work hard to promote myself, put myself out there. And I haven't yet. I haven't really done the grind. I think there's a lot of the grind resembled in this card. This is where you're meeting your first adversaries sometimes in a certain story. I don't think that fits the narrative necessarily of my experience so far. doing my tarot enterprise for the analogy that I'm running there, but this might be the first time that I'm getting trolled in my YouTube chat. This might be the first time that I'm really finding, man, I'm working hard and doing a lot of posts and they're getting limited engagement and I've got to keep pushing to make this happen. And of course, in our Wands element, that's the theme here, is that I will push and I will overcome. So when faced with your first challenges in the Wand suit, this fiery element says, okay, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to fight everyone. Everyone's got a wand here and they're all locked up and everything's jammed. I'm just going to solve this problem by pushing harder. I'm just going to force through and dominate the situation. There's a lot of brute force is the answer. Why not? In fire. That's just captured there. The natural progression in this suit from the 5 moves into 6. And this is called the victory card a lot of times. It kind of shows someone doing a victory march to resemble after you went through trial and tribulation in the 5 and forced hard enough against those initial obstacles, you will eventually, with enough time and effort, be victorious. Overcome them. This is where, if I'm following my analogy, I want to go back just for a moment to look at the 5. Sonora just mentioned in the chat, it could be haters in your own mind that are represented in the 5. And I almost mentioned but didn't quite go into, this can resemble a lot of your internal barriers. And Sonora's really keen to point that out because she knows that that's probably closer to my experience here. If I'm trying to relate this as an analogy to my practice with bringing tarot online and bringing my practice online, I have been coming up a lot of internal barriers about changing my lifestyle to include a lot more time and energy and effort really focused into developing this online community around tarot. So yes, absolutely, that could be some of the obstacles that I'm facing in this card, trying to push through to the eventual victory, which is, the product of enough time and effort. Wands have this attitude of, if I haven't gotten there yet, it's because I haven't tried hard enough and I haven't tried long enough. And I'm gonna just do it. This is the moment that you've made it. You've broken through the deadlock in the 5, and you've started to see what you set out to accomplish in this 4, I joined with you guys in this stream. I started really putting my nose to the grindstone, putting myself out there and pulling more people into this space, really connecting with more people and drawing them here. This is the moment that we've made it. Wow, it's week 6 or whatever. Hey, 6, that's nice. This is the 6th card in the set. Anyway, week 6 of the shuffle, and we've got a couple dozen viewers. What a difference, moving that way. Or I'm starting to see more engagement on my YouTube channel. I'm starting to get YouTube videos up and develop a following there. I mentioned earlier when I went over the last set that I see a really nice division across the suits where 1, 2, and 3 are kind of one part of the story arc. 4, 5, and 6 are another part. 7, 8, and 9 are another part. There's kind of a nice, starting a new enterprise with someone, following it through, finding resolution. Starting a new spark, starting a new thing that I just want to do, following through with really putting it out there to other people, resolving with they're responding to me, and I'm starting to see the fruits of what I put out there. So I do see this kind of rising action, climax, falling action across each of these sets of 3 in the suit. And I point that out because there's a distinct transition between 3 to 4 or 6 to 7, where I'm moving into the next kind of saga. And I do see where these in the earliest set kind of refer to things that are more in the personal sector, and these in the second set are more in the interpersonal sector, where it's you and the people immediately around you and your immediate environment. And these last 3 get into kind of the extra personal sphere, or relating to those things that I'm not directly connected to, the general public, and all of those larger spaces or just concepts of you against time, you against, which comes up in the 7. this 7 kind of shows the continuation of the kind of work and struggle and that comes up in the 5 that's just constantly ongoing. You find yourself, this is you up against the greater public or you against time, where you're just trying to continue what you've already started. We're late in the cycle at this point. I've made some gains. Following my analogy, I've now moved into the future where I've developed more of a following with this stream already. And at this point, I'm keeping it up. At this point, I've got some trolls in the audience. That's a couple of these sticks that are poking up on me. The card kind of features someone in a defensive stance who's battling away just an onslaught of all the obstacles and problems that they face related to this enterprise that's been being developed across the suit. So here I am having to now moderate my comments and all of this, or just continuing to do the grind is wearing is a little bit of a wear, and that's something I've got to keep this up. There's a lot of work and a lot of exertion beginning to develop in the 7, and if we've got the dreams of this suit are limitless. So really, when we're talking about like my online enterprise here in the fire suit, it's about that energy that says, I'm going to be world famous tarot card reader by the end of this. Just wait and see. I don't care how many years it takes, I'll do it. The 7 of Wands really resembles that kind of larger follow through on the grand scale, where I'm going to whatever, like, I don't care how insurmountable the goals are between me and being world famous. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to keep doing it. And taking that energy in the 7 of Wands, where you're now, now that I've gotten past my initial barriers, it's becoming clear to me what sort of getting past my initial barriers in the 5, and I've passed them in the 6. The 7 starts to show me some of the larger, grander scale challenges that are ahead to really continue pushing this to a higher place. Dad, I see you in the in the chat saying, yes, you do that. Thank you for reminding me of my own drive that I carry around with me. It's nice to have the reminder. Sometimes that's what I'm getting in a tarot card reading. It's just drawing a card like this that reminds me, you've got the spunk to fight through this. It's not about like finding a different mindset or anything. It's just about applying yourself really seriously and really fervently. That's all it takes. Sometimes it's nice to get that reminder. And a lot of the cards in this suit will kind of remind you that lesson. Coming back to 7, grander challenges are presenting themselves, moves us into the 8. The 8 is probably the point on this journey of greatest expenditure of energy. It shows many wands that are rocketing through the sky. I actually really like the illustration of this card in the Robin Wood Tarot. So I'm going to take a minute to find it while I talk about the card. Once you've identified a lot of the obstacles in the 7 of Wands that you faced, and I found it first in the the Robin Wood, so I'll show it off for a moment. Once you've really identified those obstacles and been up against them, the 8 is about saying, I am really going to finish this. I'm going to burn the candle at both ends and really bring this through to completion, because I have this dream of more viewers, of what have you, kind of following my example. And there's work yet to be done. And the wands are not a suit to do work patiently or slowly. They represent just fast burning fire energy. If something's not happening, wands are like, I just need to do more. If it's taking too long, I just need to do more. How can I speed this up? This 8 of Wands is all about that. I'm going to speed this up. I found it in the Robin Wood Tarot. I mentioned rocketing. It's probably because I'm so used to this card, which literally has them rocketing through space. Thruster trails behind the wands, and we're way up in the stratosphere. We've got Jupiter in the background. It just captures that almost frenzied, completely unbridled energy about this Eight of Wands that's just like, I'm going to put myself out there in the grandest way possible. And this is the moment where you are doing whatever it takes to really continue moving this forward. And if things are slowing down this late in the cycle, because I've kind of plateaued a little bit in my 4, 5, 6, where I got over some initial obstacles, you know, moving through the 7 is like, I want more challenge. I want to go farther. So I'm moving into the 7, and the 8 is where I'm like, whoo, this is a lot. I'm doing it. And, you know, you got here with that drive and passion to go on and willfully take on the challenges in the 7. You know, you drew that to you. And you said, I want to promote myself more. I want more people to come to me. I want all of this to happen. The 8 is where you're following through with that. Remember, I mentioned in each of these sets of 3, you kind of have rising action, follow through, resolution. This 8 is definitely the follow through with on this extra personal scale. On this, I'm going to reach the world, and I will post several times a day if that's what it takes. Follows our natural progression into the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands is a space where now you have expended yourself. When you're burning the candle at both ends in the 8, you are wearing yourself down in a way more like extraordinary than anywhere previous in the suit. Once you've reached the 9 of Wands, you can see pictured here someone they've usually got a bandage around their head. They've got some wounds to show for all the battling that they've done to get to this point. They're wary, tired, and they're on the defensive. They've made gains up to this point. You know, looking ahead, you know, with my analogy, this is a point in the future where now I'm getting regular attendance with this live stream, and you know, I'm booking some private sessions here and there throughout, and it's really happening. I'm doing a lot of work on social media, trying to promote myself. You know, I'm really engaging all the different platforms in unique and new, evolving ways, just really trying to figure it out and do anything to get more people engaged and really into this community that I'm building. At this point, I'm exhausted. That is really what's captured in the 9 of Wands, is just the exhaustion that follows you applying yourself that much, that hard. I love Tabor, my mom in the chat, just points out, the wands are blooming though. That's a really nice feature in the picture here to show that the fruits of your labor are present. They're there. You worked real hard to gather these wands, nurture them, and grow them. The wands are blooming. I love that symbol. In fact, I think wands blooming is featured on almost, I'm looking down, all of the wands across the suit here. It's almost how they're stylized in this deck. But I have seen some other decks where there's more pronounced blossoms across various cards in the suit. And that is something to point out. That really captures the character and the story of this card pretty well. Thanks for contributing that. But right, weary, standing my ground. And at this point, you're exerting the rest of your energy. Of course, we're wands, so we're never not exerting ourselves. That's just not how fire does. Fire is always driving forward. I'm exerting myself at this point in the cycle to maintain the gains that I've made. Hold on to what I've gotten so far. And not lose any of the ground that I've gained. And that, at this point in the cycle, is an exertion. I'm tired, and I have a lot to protect. I'm late in the cycle, and I've built up a lot. Leads us to the 10. You'll notice I had said, you know, these are happy set of 3, happy set of 3, happy set of 3. I left the 10 out here high and dry all alone. I really feel like the 10s of each of these suits summarize the whole story and really the culmination of all of it. So it's kind of more of an ultimate resolution to the story, and it poises us to restart the cycle in the ace, and kind of wraps around. And part of the story here is that the narratives described across each of the suits in the tarot are meant to capture the cycles that we repeat in our lives, and all the spaces that we just routinely visit. You know, these are all routine parts of our human experience, and that's what makes them powerful and potent messages to work with in an intuitive sense in a reading, or in a critical sense in terms of guiding or expanding on our thoughts. The 10 of Wands, Wow, he's tired now. Ten of Wands is the so close yet so far moment of the journey, where you've almost really fully achieved everything you set out to do. At the very back and on the horizon of this card, you can see a village or a building in the distance, meant to represent that arduous road that this person has been walking and the heavy weight they're carrying. 10 wands at this point. I've won all these wands and I've been trying to bring them home to the finish, and I am tired, but I am close. And I'm still walking. Very important feature in this card, that the figure is still moving forward, plodding one step at a time, getting closer yet to the finish. But in this card, you are exhausted and weary, and usually pictured face down, watching my feet dragging one step at a time. The experience at this moment in the cycle is almost this feeling of, I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I'll ever make it. Just all I experience is the weight of the wands that I'm carrying. I'm holding my arms in like a bundle position, but I realize it's out of frame. The weight of the wands that I'm carrying is what's overwhelming the experience in this card. But still, I'm fire, so I'm frickin' determined. You better believe I'm still walking forward. All of this and taking these slow, steady steps. I'm not gonna stop. No way we're gonna stop. We're so close. No way we're gonna stop. This is where you find that last modicum of energy to sprint across the finish line. Really just walk it out to the very end and complete the cycle. It's fun when this card appears in the reading because it's always bears this message of keep going, don't give up, you're almost there. It's always such an encouraging card for me when I encounter it in a reading. Once, of course, you've arrived there, there's always this question of what now? And the answer to what now for the fire suit is easy. It is, I don't know, anything, whatever I want to do. Once I've got kind of a following established, I'm getting fun. I'm doing different kinds of videos. I'm trying different things on the stream. Whatever I want to just keep doing, to build it more, build something new. Maybe I'm off into a tangential kind of business enterprise that opened up through some of the connections that I made doing tarot. And I'm building that in tandem alongside it. I really enjoyed live streaming so much. And once I got my PC built, I was just like, why aren't I live streaming games? I play games all the time. I should just be... And then I start doing that, and I've got both. I'm doing tarot on Thursday, and I made Tuesday about games, and and just building more, expanding more. Fire is always about this creative energy that I just want to create more. I want to do more. I want to live life. I want to experience life. I want to be out there doing it. Through and through. I want to be out there doing it. I want to overcome the challenges. The wands. It's a powerful suit. Really fun when they appear in a reading, the kind of message that they provide. Just pointing to the part of our experience that's just all about what we want to do, our will, our motive, our initiative, our zeal, our spiritual dreamer. Just what does your soul ache to do in this life? The wands always point us towards that in a reading, kind of guide a conversation in that direction. I want to take a brief look at the court cards of this suit. I'm doing great on time. I usually run this stream for about an hour, but if people have a bunch of questions for me or want to call in for a live mini reading, please go right ahead. There's nothing that's stopping me from running the stream a little longer to accommodate the interest. Sorry, I need to find... There you are. I even have the deck in order, and I was so distracted by what I was saying I couldn't find them. Thanks, Dad. I'm glad that you loved the description of my wand suit that I offered. And that's great that you felt you could relate. Knowing you personally, I am not surprised. There's a lot of the wand suit present in you. And I know that it's a suit that you've related to over the years. Of course, that's not to say that we don't all relate to all the suits. And see above what I was just talking about earlier, how tarot describes kind of universal snippets of human experience. But there are usually certain parts of human experience that different personalities will visit more often, because it's what they're drawn to, because it's how we're wired. And shout out to my dad. I know you, Fiery. I know that. I'm so Pentacles. I'm so earthy. I'm glad I saved that for last in a way. That'll be fun. My favorite element for last. I want to talk about these fiery court cards, these characters that show up in the tarot. I opened the stream talking about the Page of Pentacles, so it'll be fun to compare that character to this very spontaneous, fun-loving Page of Wands. There are many ways in which fire and earth oppose each other. Where my Page of Pentacles was shy and timid and just watching, just observing. I just want to see what it's like. I don't want to do it yet. The Page of Wands, you know, when we're at that pool party and the Page of Pentacles was the one that was just watching and maybe tested the water with their foot. Just, I don't know, I just want to feel it. Page of Wands jumped in. Page of Wands cannonballed into the pool because it seemed like a really fun idea, and they just wanted the thrill, and it was impulsive, and it was, you know, just Page of Wands is in the water going, come on, Pentacles, where you at? Get in here! You know, like, very fun character. The Page of Wands is about that fun-spirited, young, just, I want to do stuff energy. I see this character appear when it's a message of just let yourself go and do what's fun for you. Really. Just engage your inner child and treat yourself. For me, there's a lot of this Page of Wands character in executing the stream. This is what I want to do. This is just me talking about my favorite stuff ad nauseum. Great. I love it. Love it. There's a lot of this Page of Wands energy and character for me in the process of offering this stream. The Knight of Wands takes this fiery energy and more puts it forward into, I want to charge into the world. I want to change the world. I want to meet people. I want to draw people in. I want to change people. I want to experience things and learn things. Our knights kind of represent our adolescence in the deck, where our pages kind of represent the more juvenile, childlike elements of a given suit. Our knights are speaking more to the adolescent development, which is much more about adventuring into the world. When we're at that adolescent level, we're just so interested in, how do I leave my mark? As I move into adulthood, like, who am I? What am I about? I want to get out there and do stuff. I want to do my own thing. Get out there and do it. And the Knight of Wands is this character who, with the passion of fire and this whole suit, is going to dive into it and just go out there and has this really enthusiastic, creative energy and drive that they can sweep people up in. Such a romantic character, this Knight of Wands. They can just, you know, take their thing that they're so passionate about and make it seem like the biggest, greatest thing in the world. Because it is to them. It's what gets them to go charging out into the world and be a part of it. I want to put this in, I want to put me in, I want to inject myself into the world. Get out there. Knight of Wands. Our Queen and King are going to resemble more our more adult, matured, feminine, and masculine aspects of the element. And in the case of fire, I gotta say the Queen of Wands is one of my personal favorite characters in the deck. She's encouraging, warm, and inspiring. She leads through motivation. Absolutely. She will just be able to pick someone up and give them courage, give them energy, lift them up and say, you can do this. You can do this. And I've got this cool thing to share with you and bring you into. You know, if I'm acting as a Queen of Wands character towards this stream, you know, I'm projecting the message that says anyone could be a tarot card reader. And I know exactly how, and I can detail it to you exactly how. And if you're tuning in every week, it's just, I bet after a month or two, you're going to be surprised the level of proficiency you have acting as a tarot reader. And this Queen of Wands offers this really exciting, like, you can do it energy. And let's get fired up about it. And the Queen of Wands is excited and fired up about it and just draws people in with this magnetic personality. She's so fun because it's fun for her. It's fun for her followers. She just lights everyone up. Like I said, one of my favorite cards. I'm sitting here just like, oh, I love this. It's such a great card. It's one of my favorites. Talk for a minute about the King of Wands. The King of Wands captures the character better than any card for me that says, this is what we're going to do because I said so. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. I don't want to hear it. That's it. The King of Wands has this authority that they produce just with themselves, just by asserting that, yes, I am the King of Wands because I say so, and you will listen to me because I will be loud and strong enough that you will. Trust me. No. I'm the King of Wands. No response, please. Anyway, so this is what, the King of Wands has this really powerful presence. They have a very commanding presence. They have such a sureness of themselves that they are unshakable. In the face of a dissenting voice or of resistance, the king will push back harder, right away, instinctively, because they're infallible. I am here to project my will, and that's what it is. If you don't want it, you're not my follower. Please get out of my way. The King of Wands just has this no-nonsense, absolute, I will dictate my world, period. And whatever is under their domain is their world. And whatever is outside of their domain is either something that is of no interest to them or that they're going to conquer, going to move into their domain. The King of Wands is a very powerful character. Having that energy and that ambition is how some of the most greatest accomplishments can be made. When I started talking about it, I really highlighted some of the aspects of the King of Wands that I'll admit are a little off-putting to me. This very dictator, authoritarian, strong-willed, my way or the highway attitude have sometimes rubbed me the wrong way in the King of Wands. And there is an aspect of this that is this visionary, this dreamer, and this character who has the power, the ability, and the right character to manifest their dreams in such a serious way because they believe in them. They believe in themselves in an unshakable way, in the most powerful way possible. I don't care how many people tell me to doubt myself, that just bounces off of me, glances off of me. My faith in myself is unshakable as the King of Wands. My way is the right way. I know it. I just know it. And I don't need to prove it. And I'm not going to hear anyone that says otherwise. Wow, the wands are powerful. Very fun, our fiery element. I want to open the floor in case there's anything else that anyone would like me to cover. So I'll take a moment for that to appear in the chat. And in the absence of that, I'll move us into one more card that I'll draw. I love sitting here at the end of the shuffle with you guys and drawing a card that's really for, and this is going to be interesting because it's for all of us now, some thoughts to take away from the stream after having gone through this whole element. And for some later, for anyone that's tuning in and watching the recorded version of these streams. Angie, I love that. King of Wands sounds like toddler energy. Yes. Love that. There is a certain amount of assuredness and just, I'm doing this and it's the right thing and you can't tell me otherwise. I don't care what you have to say. That is captured in that toddler energy. Oh, that is so funny. I know, Angie, of course, that you're working with your daughter. And you know what? I also in the chat, my dad just pointed out the king sounds like the dark side of wands. That's kind of why I doubled back to point out that I don't think I was painting the fairest picture for the King of Wands, because in my telling of it in that moment, I was highlighting a lot of the aspects of the King that rubbed me the wrong way. And I think I brought a lot of that forward. So I wanted to double back and round out a little bit of, the very powerful, wonderful light aspects of that character. And Dad, I agree that the king needs the queen for balance. And in fact, it's a lot of times the king has a directive and order, and the queen can help people meet it. The queen can say, oh, well, that's the order, and there's a lot of great reasons to love it, and I'm going to show you how to love it, and I'm going to invite you into it. Come do it with us. The king says, come do my thing, because you should. And the queen will really make it exciting for you. The difference a lot of times between our queen and our king in the court cards is also a division between the queen, listener first, speaker second, and the king, speaker first, listener second. And that'll manifest interestingly for each suit. And I do feel that, the queen is going to have audience and hear where you're at, and then draw you into her directive from there. But listen first. It's our feminine side of the element. I'm going to move on now to a card for conclusion. I really want... Let's see. It's really important to set clear intention for the cards that you draw. And it's even harder to develop an intention for cards that are meant to be a message for a group. I've done a lot of readings before where we're offering a message to a small group, which I believe is the kind of space that we have here and now. And it's interesting because the card kind of highlights the unique space where we all connect. What is the commonality between all of us that are gathered here right now? And given that commonality, we just went over the Wands suit. And they are all about finding what lights us up, finding our passion, and really doing it, following through with it. Just letting that energy become action right away. From I want to do this to I am doing this, with nothing in between. That really is, I think, a lot of the energy in the Wands. So the card that I draw now for all of us to conclude our stream, I want to really encompass things, the mindset that we can take on in our own lives, and the kind of energy that we can employ that puts us in a powerful position to really realize our ambition that's illustrated in the fire suit and the wands, to really realize and put into action our ambition. I think this is a card that I need, looking above at those internal challenges that Sonora so kindly pointed out for me in the chat that I'm going through in terms of making my own practice with tarot a reality online. But I also want the attention for this card to be for all of you listening right now. How you and I together can direct our attention to realizing our ambition. Let's see where we all meet. I'm going to draw this card from the Steampunk Tarot that my mom gifted me for my birthday just recently. Having a lot of fun with this deck. Let's find our ambition together. I'm looking at a Six of Wands. I am glad that all of us are sharing such a fun space. We just went through this. I love this Steampunk Tarot. Look at that, a mechanical horse. What a great detail. This, commander coming in with the Victory March. Of course, we've got the Victorian era balcony and everything. People on the street as he comes marching through. Everyone in their Victorian garb. Finding our ambition together to carry through our fiery element is just to recognize the places where we've already made gains. We have already accomplished. Focused on the accomplishments you've already made. What a fun energy to express. I think that for me personally, here I am right now with all of you, and I'm getting to do it. Thank you so much for tuning in and being engaging with me in the chat. I feel so accomplished. Even this. And, you know, if you want to keep doing this with me, please like this. Please subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram. I'm making posts there and trying to create interesting content and interesting space for conversation about tarot there. Let's keep going. The Six of Wands, remember, moved into the Seven, where you're like, all right, I'm going to take on everything. And I know that for me, that's moving into the reality of now I've really got to apply myself in a serious way and do the grind. And for all of us listening, just remember that you can find so much encouragement to follow your passion and to do that just by reviewing where you are already accomplished. I hope that message is as empowering for you as it is for me. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the shuffle this week. I will see you next Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific. It's been a lot of fun doing this. Next week, we'll go over the Pentacles suit for sure. I want to round them all out. And going on from there, I'll probably start talking about more general techniques to employ in a reading, probably look at some spread layouts so that we can start applying a lot of what we've learned now. We've offered some definitions to a lot of the cards. Mom and Tabor in the chat, I'm so glad that this was helpful to you and that some of the cards spoke to where you were. That's the gift of tarot, is that we can just tell a story and learn from it. Tell a story of experience, human experience. Okay. Thanks everyone for tuning in. See you next week.